Yeah. Join us in our drive for 500 subscribers, and you could win a signed Amari Cooper jersey. Are you new to the channel? Give us a like, subscribe, and click the notify bell. It helps a ton for a new channel like ours. We're going to have a random draw for a signed Amari Cooper jersey shipped anywhere in North America. So go ahead, click subscribe, and thank you for watching the CANAM Fantasy Football Podcast. Today we're talking wide receivers on the CANAM Fantasy Football Podcast. Happy to have you guys. Welcome aboard. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the notify bell, all that good stuff. You got yourself Aetan, Tyler, Devan, and myself, Ryan, Phil Blam. We're going to go ahead and talk about some beautiful, beautiful wide receivers. Now, this is the range that I really dig. This is the range where you can get yourself a decent wide receiver one in a really good price. So I really dig this particular spot right here. We're starting off with Chris Godwin. His current ADP is 18. 18. That's beautiful. That means you can probably draft yourself a real good running back and then come back and get Chris Godwin as your wide receiver one. It's a nice baked in value, and he has the potential to end up as the wide receiver one in 2020. Next Gen Stats has him essentially pegged as Larry Fitzgerald from Bruce Arians' days back in Arizona, and of course the addition of Tom Brady with his slot receiver proclivities can only assist Godwin in building off a gaudy 2019, where he finished as the wide receiver 2 in half point per reception leagues. And guess what, guys? He spent 63% of his offensive snaps in the slot. Aetan, what do you have to say about that?
This guy's a freak. He's extremely good. Everyone was predicting him to explode last season, and people who were smart enough to draft him with I think he was going around round 3, round 4 last year, which is, just a little bit of a heads up. That's kind of where Calvin Ridley's going this year. But yeah, right. But this guy, I mean, he performed absolutely what everyone expected. I mean, he got separation after he got the ball. He had over 500 yards after the catch. He's very, very dynamic, and I think he's going to fit in great with Brady. He's going to be right there in the middle of the field, and Brady loves getting the ball out of his hand very quick. He's very capable of throwing it downfield, but he's also very capable of, if he's seeing a lot of blitzes, he dumps the ball off 2.1 seconds. I mean, there's tons of clips out there of Brady doing it, and defenders literally are telling them to stop doing it as they're walking back to their huddle because they don't get a chance to hit them. So if the game script turns into that, I can see this guy eating a lot of targets. And he ate a lot last year at 121 in 14 games. If he hits anywhere around that, he's gonna for sure be a WR1.
Yeah, no question about that. I really like Chris Godwin this season, and a lot of people are asking, well, why aren't you talking with Devan, who is the resident Tom Brady fanatic? We're going to chat with him in a little bit. Spoiler alert, because we're going to be talking about one of Chris Godwin's teammates. But next up, DJ Moore, who is currently our wide receiver 7, the channel's wide receiver 7, if you will. Now, if you are a Teddy Bridgewater truther like Tyler over here, you've got to love TJ Moore this season. He finished as the wide receiver 18 and half point per reception last year, and he had wide receiver 2 or better performances 60% of the time, despite some really shoddy quarterback play, and that's inarguable at this point. And he's got a new quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater and a new head coach in Matt Rule, but he's perfect. He's a perfect fit for Bridgewater's tendencies for sure. And he is bound to do his best Michael Thomas impression due to the fact that the Panthers are going to try to do their best impressions of the Saints offense. Do you think, Tyler, that they're going to be doing a good impression this season?
I think they'll be doing a good impression as far as moving the ball goes. Where I think they lack is they don't have that pedigree that the Saints have. I don't think the wins are going to be there for them. That might be more because of the defense. And I don't think maybe they'll be getting the end zone quite as easily as the Saints will be marching down the field. But yeah, I mean, like compare PMC. Compare
You caught
PMC
that too, eh?
Yeah, you notice my marching reference. Thank you. I mean, you could compare CMC to Alvin Kamara pretty easily. That's a very similar type of player right there. So, like Ryan said, DJ Moore kind of slots into that Michael Thomas role where he's going to get a ton of targets. He's going to be down the field for deep targets. And then the question is, can Teddy Bridgewater perform the way Drew Brees can perform? And what I'll go back to is last season when Teddy Bridgewater literally stepped in for Drew Brees and ran that offense very effectively. I would argue just as effectively as Brees was doing for them. So I see DJ Moore definitely having a great season this year. He didn't impress me as much as I was hoping last year, but I think this year might be with the better quarterback play, which I consider better quarterback play. I think he's going to be a lot better this year.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I know I'm giving you crap for the Teddy Bridgewater take, but honestly, that is going to be a better quarterback for sure. I love your take on that because really Bridgewater went in and he ran that offense really well. What is this? What the? A wild Randy has appeared. Randy,
What up?
Randy, what are you doing here?
I'm just hanging out.
You're just hanging out? Okay, do me a big favor.
What up?
Tell the people about Curtis Samuel and why I love him.
Oh, Curtis Samuel. He's just our guy. Like that guy. He's
beautiful.
Has so much talent and really just fell victim to Kyle Allen being trash. As what was it? He was top 5 in intended air yards for the season and literally just had to haul in a bit more than he did, and he would have been a wide receiver 2 or 3 on the season, and it just didn't happen for him. It's really just it's sad to see.
Yeah, it is really unfortunate.
It didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, goodbye. Thanks for that, Randy. The little cameo by Randy. And yeah, if you're believing that Bridgewater is going to be the next step up, then guess what? Really good sleeper, Curtis Samuel this season. Let's move on to Mike Evans, who we currently have as our wide receiver 8. Now, are you interested in a player that has gone for over 1,000 yards in each of his 6 seasons that he's played in? How about someone who's finished as a wide receiver 1 in 12-team half point per reception leagues? Draft Mike Evans, but just be wary because you're looking at an awesome finish, but Mike Evans was only a wide receiver 2 or better in just 38% of his games last season, which when I read that, I was kind of shocked. Now, the switch to Tom Brady is a concern. Not that I'm convinced that Brady has any deep ball issues. I really think that until I see Brady decline with the deep ball, I believe that he can sling it. The issue is play calling at the line. And as Aetan was alluding to when he was chatting about Chris Godwin, adjustments at the line, we know where Brady's going. He's going into the middle of the field. So we're talking Chris Godwin territory, Gronk territory, or, maybe OJ Howard might make an appearance, or Ronald Jones, which is actually it's going to be a thing this year. Just watch, mark my words. So I bet Mike Evans goes for 1,000 again, but I would rather have him as my wide receiver too. Dev, what are you thinking? Oh, and we just got you on mute, my friend.
It's so crazy that we have both these guys in the top 10 of our wide receiver rankings. Nuts. So for Mike Evans, he's 26, turning 27, should be entering the prime of his career. In 2019, he appeared in 13 games. He had 67 receptions, 1,157 yards, and 8 touchdowns in 13 games. That's pretty darn good. Reported at camp on the Bucs official website have Brady repeatedly connecting with Evans. Evans has made several difficult catches look easy. Now, Brady is far more accurate than Winston. He doesn't throw it as much as Winston did, but because he's more accurate, he doesn't need to throw it as much as Winston does. The interesting thing here, too, to note is Evans is likely going to see less double coverage because teams have to now respect Godwin and with Gronk on the field. Most of the time in the past, you've seen people double or triple team Evans, and he's still coming up with it. So while I feel there may be less targets for Evans, you combine the efficiency of Tom Brady with the efficiency of Evans, and you got a top 10 wide receiver easily. And the one knock I would say, though, is there is some injury there. And the shared red zone targets, perhaps, with Gronk. But other than that, to me, I take him over Godwin. I think we've been over that on this show before. But, yeah, that's – yeah.
That's hot. That's really hot. And I totally dig that. Aetan, what do you think? Are we going to have an O.J. Howard sighting this year in Tampa Bay?
Sure. I mean, why not, right? I mean, he'll see the field eventually, but I can see them going with the two tight end. Yeah. Should you drop O.J. Howard? No, you shouldn't. No. They'll be going with the 2 tight end set. Maybe they'll try to rekindle the magic of Fernandez and Gronk. O.J. Howard has a lot of talent. He has the potential to actually become something. The question is, will he do it on this team or will he ever do it? He kind of reminds me of Ebron with all the hype around him through his draft year. Maybe all of a sudden he'll appear out of nowhere and catch 16 touchdowns in one season, and you'll go, damn, why did we sleep on Howard? But I don't think he's much of a threat fantasy-wise until he proves he can. The one thing I would caution about Evans is I do think that there is a difference in quarterback with Winston not being there anymore, because he would just close his eyes and throw the ball in triple coverage and Evans would come down with it. I don't think Brady's stupid enough to do that. So maybe Evans will see more efficient catching like Devin alluded to. And I definitely do think that one of these 2 guys is going to finish as a WR1, and I think one of them will not. I think Devin's onto something when he's picking one over the other. I think Godwin's the safer choice, but I can totally see it the other way. I don't think this offense will produce 2 wide receivers in the top 12, though. So I think one of them will drop out.
Yeah, no doubt. And given that draft capital, there's no way you're getting both. So, yeah, definitely pick your favorite and then go forward with that. We're going to go ahead and hop around a little bit. We're going to do our wide receiver 10 before we do our wide receiver 9. We're going to chat about Adam Thielen. He's coming back from coming back from injury from last season. Now Adam Thielen is the only game in town in that Minnesota Vikings offense after the Stephon Diggs trade. Now the Vikes are expected to have a regressing defense, and it's almost impossible to expect the run game to have the same efficiency that it had in 2019. And let's not forget, Thielen averaged close to 150 targets in each of 2017 and 2018. So believe it until you see otherwise. Thielen is a great wide receiver 2 option with wide receiver 1 upside. Tyler, are you drafting Adam Thielen this year as your wide receiver 1? And you're muted, bud.
Yeah, sorry, bud. No, I'm not. I'm not wide receiver 1 high on Adam Thielen. He is the only show in town with Diggs leaving. But that offense runs through Dalvin Cook, and it's going to continue to run. And I literally mean run the ball as much as they can. So Thielen is going to get.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, Thielen's he's going to have his big games. He'll probably have a handful of multiple touchdown games, and you're going to be envying having Thielen there. But he's also going to have his games where he's not going to do it. And I think he's going to have more games where he does nothing, where he's going to have, a 3-catch, 25-yard game more often than these multi-touchdown games. So as far as wide receiver one, absolutely not. If he's hanging around there, say in the third round, late third round, fourth round, I am going for him for sure. But as far as the guys we've talked about in the show so far, he's definitely below all of them.
That's fair. We had a huge reaction from Aetan in the corner there. What happened there, man? You heard Adam Thielen's name and you're just like, oh, what's going on?
I got this guy ranked as the 7th wide receiver this year. I have him probably the highest out of everyone in our podcast here.
It's true.
I really like what this guy shows. I mean, people are worried about the injury, but he did 5 years in a row without missing a single game. Or is it 6? No, 5 years in a row without missing a single game. I mean, he's very durable, and I think he's going to continue on catching a lot of passes with Diggs gone, and they're going to have to use him more. Dalvin Cook can't keep running at the same rate that he has been because he keeps getting hurt. They can't just blow everything on Dalvin Cook. They'll regret it. So I totally see them. They switched their play caller this year. I totally see him being a huge part of this offense, and I definitely want some shares of him. And I just want to also put a huge caveat that just because I have him ranked 7th, this is a big thing with all of us on this podcast. Just because we have a player ranked somewhere does not mean you should drop him. This is based on ADP, and this is based on what you think their end will be. You can take the gamble if you really, really love someone, but you really want to try to be grabbing someone around their ADP. So Thielen should be around a 3rd round wide receiver. I have him ranked as a 2nd round wide receiver. I would not drop him.
Yeah, that's beautiful and great advice for everybody who's watching the show. Definitely get that value where you can. Speaking of value, sometimes it feels like you're digging in the trash when you're talking about the Chicago Bears recently. No offense, guys. But let's talk about Allen Robinson. Now, much like DeAndre Hopkins' career, Allen Robinson has succeeded despite QB play. Last season, he had over 150 targets, and this season it could be more of the same. Anthony Miller, of course, is a very popular sleeper candidate, but he's mainly going to be mopping up the vacated targets from Taylor Gabriel. Now, he posted wide receiver 2 or better numbers in 62% of his games, which was 5th behind only Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, and Devontae Adams. Now, the fact that the Bears snagged Nick Foles only helps the Bears receivers, as now they have twice the chance to have competent quarterback play. Allen Robinson definitely should be considered a high floor, low end wide receiver 1, in my opinion, with lots of upside. Devan, what's your take on Allen Robinson this season?
I like him. Now, again, he's another guy at 27 years old. I mentioned that year. It seems to be a good year for wide receivers going into their prime. He's delivered top 12 fantasy seasons with Blake Bortles and Mitch Trubisky. The Bears have traded for Nick Foles to either push Trubisky or potentially take over if Trubisky doesn't pan out. I believe that that's improved quarterback play in general, one way or the other. And with that, Robinson should reap the rewards of that. Last year, now he had 98 receptions, 1,147 yards, 7 touchdowns. Even with a struggling Trubisky, he's going to be heavily relied upon. He's the main threat of that offense. A couple knocks on him, he does have a history of injuries, and more than likely he's going to be double teamed unless Miller and Ted Ginn Jr. Learn to contribute better.
I love that take. No, that's very good. Tyler, what are you thinking? Who would you rather have, Adam Thielen or Allen Robinson?
Oh, I'm going Allen Robinson all day on that one. I'm pretty big on Allen Robinson. I think he's one of the more underrated guys out there on the charts right now because I guess playing in that Bears offense, nobody's excited about having a Bears player on their fantasy team, just with the way things have gone the last couple of years for them. But Allen Robinson's putting up those big numbers. Looking back, he put up over 1,100 yards last year, 7 touchdowns. It's pretty solid there. And I feel like he can. I mean, with Foles coming in there, I think he's going to improve. I'm pretty sure Foles will take that starting position at some point this year. And that's only good news for Allen Robinson as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I can't agree more with that. Allen Robinson definitely in line for a phenomenal season. It's going to be a good time, guys. That's 2020 for you. The top 6 to 10 wide receivers that we've got on the channel. We got to pay some bills, but we'll catch you on the flip side. Join us in our drive for 500 subscribers, and you could win a signed Amari Cooper jersey. Are you new to the channel? Give us a like, subscribe, and click the notify bell. It helps a ton for a new channel like ours. We're going to have a random draw for a signed Amari Cooper jersey shipped anywhere in North America. So go ahead, click subscribe, and thank you for watching the CANAM Fantasy Football Podcast.